Thanks again, Mayor, City Council, I appreciate it. So I was out of town last meeting and listened in on it and looked at the transcript, or not the transcript, but I replayed the audio today. So I look at the minutes, and there's a 46-minute meeting last week, 2 weeks ago. About 10 of that was spent on stuff not on the agenda. So part of that is explaining how you're not allowed to talk about anything not on the agenda. The Brown Act, the California Open Meetings Act. So I don't know, I've had a long-standing problem with this, but my understanding is the Brown Act covers you for discussing items not on the agenda for the current meeting. It doesn't prevent you from putting something on the agenda for the next meeting. So the idea that, you know, Beth comes up here and wants to talk about you know, any kind of potential forum, or the fact that City Council is supposed to be nonpartisan. If you want to talk about that, and I believe 3 of you had comments, all the men that were here present at the last meeting took turns talking about how it's not partisan, and you know, we don't do those forums. If you actually want to talk about that, put it on the agenda and, you know, invite the public to weigh in on it and go from there. So it's this game we play where it's like, oh, well, we can't talk about it because it's not on the agenda, but it's never going to be on the agenda. So that's sort of a nice circular reasoning. So as far as the actual minutes themselves, I was pretty stunned with.
Time back, but I think the council members talked about that during an agendized item called council member comments. So
Yeah.
it's not that they were speaking off an agendized item. They were speaking during councilmember comments, which is a time in the council meeting for any council member to say anything we want about anything, much like you have the right to come and give public comment here. So I just wanted to clarify that for you, that this is not a Brown Act violation for council members to give their comments. It's actually an agendized item. Thank you.
It feels more like a Brown Act item when you're responding to something brought up in public comments. We can ask the city attorney later, but I mean, I think I get my 3 minutes.
Now.
Well, you can do whatever you want, obviously.
But I mean, you're coming up with a very serious accusation, and I want to take it seriously.
Great.
We're talking about this council violating the Brown Act while our city attorney sits here.
Mr. Simone.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. The public comment portion of the agenda is reserved strictly for members of the public to address the City Council on non-agendized items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The City Council is not permitted to discuss, deliberate, or take any action relative to public comments. They may ask very brief questions for clarification, and they may refer the speaker to an individual member of staff for future action. City Council comments is an opportunity for council members to have a one-way communication with the activities that they've been going to, events that they've attended. It's also specifically the opportunity on the agenda to provide their own personal comments and feedbacks to the public comment portion of the agenda. As long as the comments are brief, within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city, council members are permitted to address the comments of public speakers. Thank you.
Okay.
And if I may just add, I think Ms. Schwartz was very professional coming in here. I thought she asked reasonable questions, and I thought everyone who was here did their very best to answer those questions for her. In fact, I actually asked her to stay until the 10.2 opportunity for us to tell her about opportunities in the past and hopefully current for candidate forums.
Okay, I guess maybe you could mention Beth Schwartz's name, and if that's who you're referring to in the portion of the minutes where I feel is gray area in the Brown Act for replying to public comments.
Her name is in the minutes.
Not in section 10.2. So the other thing that stunned me was Councilmember Holloway saying he's not aware of people's political affiliation, and that it's like a secret or something. So I think all 3 of you touched on that this is supposedly a nonpartisan body. So political affiliation, your registered party with the California Secretary of State, that's a public record. That's not a secret. All of you are Republicans. I don't know if you're aware of that. It should be really obvious for Mayor Pro Tem Beal. He's like, you know, Mr. Trump. So I mean, I know you're supposed to be nonpartisan, but in reality you're not. And I'm just stunned that you're unaware of that, and that you don't think it colors how the city is managed and where things fall in terms of agenda items and focus for the city. So I'm blown away by that. But okay, you're probably not going to change the minutes. That's fine. But that's kind of what I wanted to say. Thank you.